We saw how they were killing.
My house has no doors. It's all broken. Came in, didn't like something, started shooting, and that's it. It's called Yablonka?
Yes.
And you saw how they shot people down? We saw.
Yes.
I saw a dead body and said that I shall not go there alone.
Bastards. Every day, our troops deoccupy certain territories, and we see what happens. It is difficult to talk, very difficult when you see what they have done here.
Bucha is one of the major episodes of Russia's war against Ukraine. It has become a symbol of the crimes of Russia's army. The name of the small town on the outskirts of Kiev, where about 30,000 people lived before the Russian invasion, has become infamous. From the end of February, when Bucha was occupied by Russians, and about until the end of March, when Russians withdrew from the Kiev region, about 400 civilians were killed here. Most died from gunshot wounds, often with their hands tied. They were literally executed.
The bus stops here. We should go there. Hurry!
On the road from Romanovka. This. No, Sasha, don't yell, please. I'm not sending you around. I'm standing here now. Where are you? Keep going.
Do you know where Mishka is?
Over there.
How far?
Waiting. Thank you.
Thank you for helping us.
Thank you. Let's go, son.
No, Go straight ahead.
This footage was taken in the first half of March. The fighting in the Kiev region was in full swing. People were fleeing Bucha at their own risk through neighboring Irpin after being trapped for a fortnight and surviving literally on a battlefield.
Wait a little bit. I need to take a seat. Oh, God. Thank you.
You are welcome. Thank you.
Keep going.
Be careful. All the buses go to the train station. There are many people there.
Oh, my God.
Don't panic. If we can make it, then yes. To the station? Yes, buses go to the train station. Are you ready? Yes? Go!
No, wait. Of course we're waiting.
Come on.
Lift up your feet. Mom, we have a pregnant woman here.
Give me the bags.
Sit down. So where are my people? Anya. Maybe she's left. If someone asks, tell them that Babushka with cane has left already. Okay.
Hello, Losha.
I have to get to the station first, and then she'll decide where to go.
I could not talk because we were standing under the bridge, waiting.
My husband is much calmer than me. Let's go. What are we waiting for?
However, the full extent of the tragedy only became clear when the Ukrainian army regained control of the city and the region, and the investigation could proceed unhindered.
Near me, over the fence, a few meters away, a house was blown up. It wasn't just an accidental landmine, it was a deliberate explosion.
Andrei Golovin is the prior of St. Andrew the Apostle Orthodox Church in Bucha. After the invasion, he stayed in town and helped the locals. By mid-March, when the number of civilians killed was rising, he organized a mass grave on the temple grounds, where the dead were taken from all over the city. During the occupation, he buried 116 people here.
I lived like the vast majority of people.
Right.
In the evenings, nobody was walking or breathing fresh air. Everybody stayed in hiding, in cellars and whatnot. But people had to go outside for one simple reason. Russians were deliberately destroying the infrastructure. You saw a shelled temple. Kadyrov's unit came in on the 27th of February. They shot a little at the church, but then our artillery shelled them. The first thing they shot at was the water tower. No water, no light, and so on. They were defeated. After a few days, we restored the infrastructure. But soon they came again and again and purposely destroyed the water tower and electricity. For over a month, we had nothing but air. To call somebody or send a message, you had to climb a tree to get a connection with Kiev. You had to find a way to charge the phone from the car battery or just turn it off, because that was the situation. Lots of bodies were lying in the streets. The morgue didn't work because the refrigerators don't work without electricity.
Of course, of course.
Notwithstanding the occupation, the local authorities had to resolve a problem with the bodies. Local doctors spoke with the Russian soldiers because they came to the hospitals looking for their wounded and for our wounded. As far as I understand, the doctors have tried to solve the problem because bodies have been lying in the streets for more than a day. And there are many dogs that are running around. There are a lot of dogs because people who left town couldn't take their pets with them. Something had to be done. There was already an agreement that bodies can be taken away, at least in this central district, because other districts were under fire. They took away the bodies that had been lying around since day one. On the 10th of March, we buried 67 people. A total of 116 people were buried here. Cars were being parked near the gate. 2 trenches were dug from here to there. And there were a few individual graves. Apart from that, many people were buried in parks, gardens, wherever it was possible.
Вот, условно, ваши воспоминания работают сейчас. Вы каждый день вспоминаете.
There were many of them, yes, but what about your memories? Do you remember every day of that month? What does it mean to you now?
Чесно кажучи, на автопілоті. Тобто намагаюся максимально
It's like being on autopilot. I try to take my mind off it as much as possible. The saving grace is that I have a lot to do. No time for bad thoughts. Thankfully, my memory is bad, which makes my conscience seem clear. I lie down and immediately fall asleep. If you give way to emotions during the day, you fall apart.
А у вас есть, объяснение, почему Буча?
So why do you think? Why Bucha exactly? I've traveled a lot around the country, been to different regions. Of course, this isn't the only place where Russia's army has committed crimes, but nevertheless.
I think that in Mariupol and other cities, everything is much worse.
Right.
Why here exactly? I guess there are several factors. First of all, it's not that someone overdid it. It is that someone could not cope with all that is happening and snapped. In my opinion, this is the state policy of the Russian Federation. Why? Well, after something like this, was there any investigation? Are the perpetrators being punished? Maybe someone was giving a telling off and told not to do it again?
They were rewarded.
Exactly.
The 64th Brigade, for example.
Those units became guard units. Besides, Russians could not move on to anywhere else. Bridges blown up, spending a month here, no progress, us shelling them, anger, lots of free time. They went door to door looking for weapons. I can show photos of Lukashenko with those 4 firing positions. They rummaged through the library as if looking for weapons between the pages of books. You understand. Plus alcohol, and so on. And impunity, of course. There are different kinds of a soldier. One can be an occupier, a looter, one can be a rapist and a murderer, or one can be a man of faith and honor. And you and I pray that our soldiers, our defenders, will be different from those that came to our land.
July, St. Andrew the Apostle Orthodox Church, Bucha. Sunday sermon of Father Andrei. Dozens of people came. So what is Bucha now?
Outwardly, it seems to be a peaceful city. People run their errands. It's as if everything is as it was. Only here and there we see something is burnt, something is destroyed. Only 2/3 of the residents have returned. Many have not come back yet. Mostly women and children who are abroad and in Western Ukraine. These scars are invisible, but they still remain. If we look at neighboring towns, Borodyanka, Hostomel, Irpin, there is a lot of destruction there. Houses, infrastructure are destroyed. We seem to have everything intact. But the specifics are in the sad statistics. While in the Kiev region more than 1,400 civilians died, in Bucha more than 400 were killed. That is 1 in 3 died here. And this is despite the fact that there was no major fighting here.
Right.
People died during the occupation. And what I have seen, for example, in this mass grave, and what I have heard, the vast majority, up to 90%, died from bullet wounds. Not accidentally, not from explosions, as they say, being in the wrong place at the wrong time, or because they didn't hide when there was an air raid. People were simply shot dead. Different things have happened. Somewhere there were snipers working. An acquaintance of mine was on the road between Bucha and Vorzel in the first hours of the occupation, and a sniper shot him. His body was lying on the road for over a month because it was not possible to take him away.
Буча сейчас ворота в Украину для иностранных
Bucha now became the gateway to Ukraine for foreign delegations. All Western celebrities and stars coming to express support for Ukraine usually visit Bucha and neighboring Irpin first, where destroyed houses and execution sites are shown to them.
Our competent authorities cooperate with international organizations.
They entered here.
They're telecoming the car.
I think it's a special equipment. We have evacuated 40,000 people by foot, just from here.
Over the destroyed.
Yeah. Over the rebuild concept is on place, so we're ready.
Головин.
Father Andrei is one of the guides to the delegations who shows them around.
It depends on how many journalists, how much time we have. It happens that we are running late for something, and the president, for example, is already waiting. And there is no time to talk, to find out what the person thinks about all this. When there is more time, fewer journalists, less distraction, you can communicate more. You can understand whether a person is interested or not. Many people ask questions. They didn't just come, as they say, for appearance's sake. Many are shocked. I guess somewhere around the 8th of April, the exhumation started, or a little earlier. And there was a delegation here that day. President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, Minister Borrell, Prime Minister of Slovakia, they were here. They are told something. And then she turns around, and there are sacks of bodies lying around, and this putrid smell. Imagine how it is to see such a thing with your own eyes.
What do you think of Bono?
You know about this too?
Let me introduce you to our priest, Отець Андрій, and he will explain питання.
Frankly speaking, I was pleasantly surprised.
Really?
He came here not for a show.
Right.
He walked around, watching, asking lots of questions. I also really regret that at some point this visit wasn't recorded for history, because the journalists were all left on the street.
Okay, folks, sorry, we'd just like to have maybe a private moment with Agent Bono and Father and yourselves. Yes. So if you could all just...
It was his demand. They went into the church, prayed, and then sang their religious song. When you realize this is not a phonogram or an audio recording, that it is live, and it comes from the heart. When you see the person not on stage, you see a personality. He astounded me. After Easter, we have memorial days for the departed, Radonista. And on that day, we held a requiem concert here. We want it to be like this every year,
Right.
so that we remember the innocent victims. We took a photo of Reuters agency as kind of an outsider's view. We have pictures that are even more horrible. But this photo was what the journalists saw from the outside. We agree on the copyright and put it on display at the concert so that people would not just listen to the music or some words, but see what happened here. Because not everyone was here. Someone came when the exhumation was already over. There were photos left afterwards. We show them to the people who come here to commemorate the victims. We are thinking about memorials. We are thinking about memorials, but not as in the Soviet times, when once a year the eternal flame was lit for half an hour.
Right.
Everybody took a photo near it with the flowers and forgot about it. It has to be a site of commemoration. I have seen one of the designs. It looks like a trench where you go in as if immersing in it. There will be video recordings, photographs, and so on, so that a person could listen to the memories of eyewitnesses and see all these materials at any time. And above that, on the street, it could be a playground or something like this, so we can remember what happened, but at the same time, look forward. We really need to get on with our lives. We need a ray of hope. So we are thinking about how to make sure that this is not just a mausoleum, but that it becomes an aspiration for the future.
It has already been known who killed civilians in Bucha and how. In general, the units of Russia's armed forces that were here in March have also been identified, including the 64th Separate Motor Rifle Brigade. In April, the brigade received the honorary Guards status from Russian President Vladimir Putin for mass heroism.
А у вас в России были какие-то близкие, не знаю, родственники, друзья?
Did you have relatives, friends in Russia? Have you been in contact with them since the 24th?
No, we do not talk. As already mentioned when we were on the phone,
Собственно, да, вот вы говорили вчера, что у вас, есть некоторые...
Well, yes, you told me that you were contemplating whether to talk to me.
I understand that there's no collective responsibility. A person who did not kill, did not shoot, who has his own point of view, this person is not to blame for what some scum did. But I have to be honest. I have such feeling. When you see a Russian, you want to ask, "You are going right? Then I am going left." No talking, no quarreling, just not having any relations. Not to see, not to hear, just to say, "Leave us alone. Do what you want in your own place, but we don't want to see or hear you here."